It is the door. It's the door that needs to open. And it's he calls it the temple of, it is the door. It's the door. He calls it the temple of wisdom. And that's your sixth sense. So, like, where does he get that from? Like, what is that? The door to the temple of wisdom, the sixth sense. So, it's almost like we're talking about, I would say, your gut feeling. I would say, um, your mind. I would say about how sometimes you just know. So, it's not intuition, but it's the sixth sense. Now, Bob, rest in peace, Bob, he always said that he was under the impression and the understanding that the sixth sense is almost like another higher mental faculty. Not everybody agrees with that, but that's what he said. And this is what he goes. The sixth sense probably is the medium of contact between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. And for this reason, it's a mixture of both the mental and the spiritual. So there is something connecting us. The sixth sense probably is the medium of contact between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. And for this reason, it's a mixture of both the mental and the spiritual. It is believed to be the point at which the mind of man contacts the universal mind. So I don't know about you out there, but if that is the door, if that's what's going to open up to infinite intelligence, to all the universal mind, which is all our minds are connected to the universal mind, I want a piece of that. I want to be able to reach in and see what's there. And I want to understand it. And I'm probably not going to understand it enough if I read this book one time. And that's why I want to keep reading it and keep reading it until I get it. Now, he goes on to say, through the aid of the sixth sense, you will be warned of impending dangers in time to avoid them, and notified of opportunities in time to embrace them. Isn't that cool? Now, don't you want to avoid bad things? Don't you want to be ahead when you think if there's an opportunity, right? So you do, right? I do. I don't know about you. So that's why it is important, right? Whether or not this is a statement of truth, you will never know except by following the instructions described in the pages of this book or some similar method or procedure. So that's why we cannot be missing out. And right away, Napoleon Hill was, I mean, he became very smart. He wasn't smart at the beginning. And he became very smart because he spent a lot of time with a lot of smart people. And this is where I always talk about proximity is power. He goes, this much the author does know, that there is a power or a first cause or an intelligence which permeates every atom of matter and embraces every unit of energy perceptible to man, that this infinite intelligence converts acorns into oak trees, causes water to flow downhill in response to the law of gravity, follows night with day and winter with summer, each maintaining its proper place and relationship to the other. The intelligence may, through the principle of this philosophy, be induced to aid in transmuting desires into concrete or material form. The author has this knowledge because his experimental with it and has experienced it. Very cool. Now, and again, I don't know if you've read the chapter or not. I've read it. And he talks about his invisible mastermind in this chapter. So he started having meetings with them every night before he goes to bed. And they were powerful people at the time. Emerson, Paine, Edison, Darwin, Lincoln, Burbank, Napoleon, Ford, and Carnegie. So they were like a counsel to him, and he will close his eyes before he goes to bed, and he will just greet them, and they will have this mastermind meeting about how he's doing and what he needs to do. And uh, I mean, I don't know at the time if some of them were dead, but I mean, Ford was around, Lincoln was around, Edison was around. The other ones, I'm not sure. Darwin definitely was dead, but he called that the invisible counselor. And so you can do that because you want to tap into other people's minds. You want to tap into this ocean of infinite knowledge. And he describes the meeting that he has with them very, very detailed. Like, they laugh, they'll joke, they'll talk, they'll give him guidance. It's just like a mastermind. Like I have a mastermind meeting this afternoon with some people, and he has this meetings every day with these guys. Kind of crazy, but it's what it is. That's what he did. So nothing is crazy until you do it and it works, right? Everything is crazy. What else can I tell you? So he said they used to give him a lot of facts. And every time he met with them, he said, these invisible counselors, I find my mind most receptive to ideas, thoughts, and knowledge, which reach me through the sixth sense. So the more he met with them, he found that his mind was receptive to new ideas, because the only reason we're not turning our annual income into monthly is because we're not accepting the idea. That's what I have on the screen, right? Because I'm probably thinking about it. The only reason it's not becoming true is because we're rejecting the idea. We're not accepting it with ease. So when you start doing this kind of thinking, you upgrade your thinking. I find my mind most receptive to ideas, thoughts, and knowledge which reach me through the sixth sense. I can truthfully say that I owe entirely to my invisible counselors full credit for such ideas, facts, or knowledge as I received through inspiration. Really cool. He does encourage us to read the chapter and spend time on it. And he does admit that the sixth sense is one of those subjects that is out there. The sixth sense is a subject that will be of great interest and benefit to the person whose aim is to accumulate vast wealth. But it need not claim the attention of those whose desires are more modest. And so it's your choice, my choice. Everybody has a choice. He reminds us again of our desires, and that desire is the starting point of all achievements. And then he finishes like this. Having read the chapter, you must have observed that while reading it, you were lifted to a high level of mental stimulation. Splendid. Come back to this again a month from now. Read it once more and observe that your mind will soar to a still higher level of stimulation. Repeat this experience from time to time, giving no concern as to how much or how little you learn at the time. And eventually you will find yourself in possession of a power that will enable you to throw off discouragement, master fear, overcome procrastination, and draw freely upon your imagination. Isn't that cool? Now, I didn't know that. But the more you read material like this, the more you read mindset material that actually matters, this is what happens. You are going to be stimulated in your mind to have these ideas. Eventually, you will find yourself in possession of a power that will enable you to throw off any discouragement, master fear. That means you're not going to have fear anymore. Overcome procrastination. We all have it. I have it. You have it. Everyone else has it. And draw freely upon your imagination. Then you will have felt the touch of the unknown, something which has been moving spirit of every truly great thinker, leader, artist, musician, writer, and statesman. Then you will be in position to transmute your desires into their physical or financial counterpart as easily as you may lie down and quit at the first sign of opposition. It's pretty cool. Really, 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 really cool. So that was chapter 14. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about chapter 15. Maybe I'll have Bob even talk about that. I just do want to set the stage for it, though. All right. But I did promise to talk about money. So I got to find the money video from Bob first as well. So, and I just want to say welcome to all of you listening live and here on Zoom. So let me see, where is the video? Okay, let's talk about money. How does that sound? Let's talk about money. I think it'd be a good idea. Talk about money today. Let's talk about money. Here we go. Advanced. Here we go. Let's see what happens with that. Okay, so we're going to talk about money. So this is from the advanced material of TIR. So you're getting a piece of the action.
Well, here we are back again. And this is a subject that I'm betting you're going to like. Let's talk about money. It's the 9th lesson. Now, you know, by this point in the program, I think you should have a pretty firm grip on who you are, what makes you tick. Now what we want to do is start moving it in the direction that you really want to move, to make the things happen that you really want to make happen. But that costs money. Listen to what Earl Nightingale says. Men and women have been concerned about money since the first coin was fashioned in Asia Minor about 700 years before Christ. You might say that money is like good health, in that we are concerned about it to the extent that we don't have it. You know, there's such a very small percentile of the population that ever becomes wealthy, and yet anyone can. Now, here's something that you want to really understand about money. You do not have to be that bright to earn a lot of money. See, I was raised with the idea, if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. Well, I found out that's not true. You don't have to be that smart, but you do have to want to earn money. It's that simple. Now, I've also found that the people that are just going after the money, they may get it, but they're not the happiest people in town because money's controlling them. It's like I pointed out in the Born Rich book. We should love people and use money. Some people love money and use people. They're generally not very happy. Now, all the money in the universe is available to you. All you have to do is earn it. This is pretty interesting. Now, we point out here there's only 3 strategies for earning money. And as you get into this lesson, we refer to it as M1, M2, and M3. M1 is not a good strategy, and odds are that might be the one you're using. Now, I say that because 96 out of every 100 people are following that strategy, and it really doesn't work very well. M2 is only used by 3% of the population, 2 or 3%, and for very good reason. That's where you invest money to earn money. You see, the M3 strategy, that's where people trade their time for money. Bad idea. And that is because there's an inherent problem in it. It's called saturation. You run out of time. So I don't care how much you're charging for your time, you'll eventually run out of it because there's only 24 hours in a day. M2, where you invest money to earn money. Now, if you're going to follow that strategy, you really got to know what the heck you're doing. And unfortunately, a number of people from the M3 strategy, they squirrel a little bit away at the expense of a life, I might mention, and they invest it and they lose it because they don't know what they're doing. Now, M1 is a strategy I stumbled on many, many years ago. I didn't realize what had happened, but I stumbled on the best strategy that there is for earning money. It's where you multiply your time by setting up multiple sources of income. You don't have one, you don't have two, you don't have 21, you have as many as you want. You see, we're raised with the idea that you go to work to earn money. Working happens to be the very worst way. In fact, Napoleon Hill said, if you are one of those people who believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, perish the thought. He said that's not true. He pointed out, when riches come, if they come at all, they come in response to definite demands based upon the application of definite principles and not by chance or luck. Now think about it. They come in response to definite demands based upon the application of definite principles. See, money is earned by providing service. Now, you can provide service while you're sleeping. In fact, there are people that earn more money when they're sleeping than they can spend when they're awake. I know that sounds like a slick line, but it's the truth. Think about it. Now, the M1 strategy, as I say, is something I stumbled on way back in the 60s. I had no formal education, 2 months high school. I had a bad work record, but I took my income from $4,000 to $15,000 a year to $15,000 a month within a year. And then I took it over $1 million a year. I was of the opinion that money was the simplest thing in the world to earn. Now, we're raised to believe you got to be really smart to earn money. You don't have to be very smart at all. Some of the dumbest people in the world earn the most money, and some of the most brilliant don't earn anything. So I really want you to dig into this lesson and really pay attention. Now, there's the one lesson here we call multiple sources of income. It's the Wheel of Fortune. You can take, what do we have? We have 15 spots here. Now, you could have 2 or 3 wheels if you want. Decide how many sources you're going to have within the next year. And then, you don't have to know what they are, but if you decide you're going to have them, thoughts will start to come to you. And that's what you want. You've got to dig into this lesson. Now, there's exercises. We want you to do them, and we want you to be honest about it. You see? You know, a strange thing. I frequently ask people, in fact, almost always ask them if I'm going to work with them, what's the most they've ever earned in a year? Every now and then somebody will lie to me. They'll tell me a number, and I know they're not telling the truth. It doesn't happen often, but it happens on occasion. They're embarrassed. Well, don't be embarrassed. Take a look at what you're earning and say, I'm going to raise that from there, and I'm going to keep it going up. Because all the money in the world is available to you, but you have to learn how to earn it. You got to get the right strategy going. You've got to get the right attitude. Now, the very first lesson, we get into attitude, the magic word. And I'm going to tell you, when it comes to earning money, it's magic. The earning of money is based upon a law of compensation. And the law of compensation is very clear. You'll find it. It's the amount of money you earn is in direct ratio for the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing it. So as you get into this lesson, you're going to have fun. Let me read you something Wallace Wattles wrote. He said, never look at the visible supply. In other words, don't look at what's available outside. Always look at the limitless riches in the formless substance. You see, all the money in the world is available to you. You see, you come up with an idea and you turn the idea into money. Go to formless substance. Go to your own thoughts. Now, 5 days from now, our financial genius is coming on, and she's going to give you some ideas on money. Sandy Gallagher is one of the most brilliant people I have ever known in my life when it comes to money. She's just very good with it. She loves to play with it. She loves to get a hold of it. And she loves working with it. Now, of course, she was a banking attorney. Bought banks, sold banks, merged banks. She was a securities attorney, so Money was her game. Well, I remember when I first met her. It wasn't when I first met her, but when I decided I wanted to invite her to become my partner in the business, which she is. I said, "How much business have you done?" She said, it's funny you ask. I figured it out. 100 billion. I thought she's really made a mistake. I said, "Do you mean 100 million?" And she looked me right in the eye in a straight face. She said, "No, 100 billion." So when you're listening to her when it comes to money, pay attention. She knows what she's talking about. One of the smartest people I've ever come across when it comes. Now, in university, she graduated as the #1 banking attorney student. #1 in all the United States, in all of the universities. There's what they gave was, I think she called it an Amger Award, and she won it. The #1 student in all the universities in all the United States went to banking attorneys. She got it. And it doesn't surprise me a bit. She's as wise as they come. And you have her working with you on this program. And of course, she's going to give you another video in 5 days to help you focus back in on this. So spend the next 10 days on this. Remember, an hour a day, every day, listen to it, read it, listen to it, read it. Every word in here is on recording. Dig into it.
So cool. He talks so nicely about Sandy. It's pretty cool. And unfortunately, she doesn't get enough credit for everything that she's done, and she's got very, very nice thoughts, and her manifestation and visioneering is powerful. So I'm learning more about what she wrote and how much she really helped them. So what you heard, that was just a little bit of. After thinking into results, I studied Lead the Field, which is what Bob studied. So the way it works is basically 5 days with Bob, 5 days with Sandy, and then there's an audio and a book, and it's very, very powerful. Cool. So that was a bit about money, because it is an interesting topic, and it is rather elusive. So let's see, what time is it now? It's 6:41. All right, so we have two choices. I'm going to let you give me the choice in the chat here, those who are here. Do you want to watch a video about the 6 ghosts of fear, or do you want me to talk about it? What do you prefer? So let's see. Because I can talk about it, 10, 15 minutes, or we can watch a video from Bob about it. Let's see what you guys prefer. If you have preference, and if you don't, it's all good. We'll just do what I feel like I'm going to do anyways. Any preference? All right, we got something in the chat. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, that's not an easy choice. Yeah, putting you on the spot. Either, no preference. Okay, cool. All right. So let's do this. I'm thinking I'll just talk about it a little bit instead of watching another video. So, but I really want you to stretch. Like, when I'm reading these lessons, I'm applying them to my goal. When I'm reading the lesson in TIR, I'm applying that lesson to my goal. When I'm listening to Pop Talk, I'm applying that to my goal. When I'm seeing this thing on the screen, this is towards my goal. And today is the 15th of the month, so I'm carrying on with what I'm saying I want to do, reading a chapter a day. So I haven't fully read it yet, but I'm just going to share with you from it what I know. And then tomorrow morning, we will share more about it. So it's very exciting. If you know anybody that is scared, if you know anybody that is worried about complainers, worried about what others think of them, that's going to be the full-on hour tomorrow. So very, very, very powerful. I'm even going to have an announcement on my LinkedIn channel that's what I'm going to talk about in the morning. See if anybody from that community wants to come. So I'm going to talk about it today. And if you come back tomorrow, and if you read the lesson 15, you're going to get a whole lot more out of it. So let me tell you what I think about that lesson and what Napoleon Hill said about it. So Napoleon Hill, he left that lesson to the end for a reason. I don't think it was an easy choice, but he really needed us to know all the principles, all the laws. You hear about the laws. He wanted us to know that before we get into the six ghosts of fear. And he goes, previous chapters have described how to develop faith through autosuggestion, okay, desire, and the subconscious. And in lesson one in Thinking Results, we learn how to let go of belief and build a belief. The next chapter presents detailed instructions for the mastery of fear. And don't get confused here, mastery of fear. You don't want to be mastering fear. You want to master conquering fear. He should have said that, but it's all good. But that's the idea. Here will be found a full description of the six fears, which are the cause of all discouragement, timidity, procrastination, indifference, indecision, and the lack of ambition, self-reliance, initiative, self-control, and enthusiasm. So there's a chapter that we're going to study. We're going to talk about it a bit today. And that's the study for today and tomorrow that talks about these things, procrastination, timidity, discouragement, indifference, indecision, lack of ambition, self-confidence, initiative, self-control. I mean, it is an important chapter. Search yourself. Now, each one of us is going to have something different about it. Search yourself carefully as you study these six enemies, as they may exist only in your subconscious mind, where their presence will be hard to detect. Remember, too, as you analyze the six ghosts of fear, that they are nothing but ghosts, because they exist only in one's mind. Remember also that ghosts, creation of uncontrolled imagination, have caused most of the damage people have done to their own minds. Therefore, ghosts can be as dangerous as if they lived and walked on the earth in physical bodies. I mean, think about it. Like, this is a big sentence. They're ghosts. Like I always imagine myself, I'm in a meeting somewhere and stuff being asked and shared, and I have questions and I'm not sure of what am I understanding it? I'm like, should I ask the question? Should I raise my hand? What are they going to think of me? I'm timid. I'm worried about some criticism. And so how much have that happened for so many over the years? How many times we had this mind discouragement that prevented us from doing something? Procrastination is because your mind is coming up with stuff. My mind is coming up with stuff. Remember also that ghosts, creations of uncontrolled imagination. See, there's controlled and uncontrolled. This is uncontrolled imagination. It just does whatever it wants. Your mind just starts going boom. I mean, just imagine. Some of you are mothers. Most of you are mothers here. And I don't know, those who are listening live or to the recording later, but your kid stays home late out somewhere and your mind starts coming up with stuff. Uncontrolled imagination. You're afraid about, what's going to happen? What should happen? What could have happened? Where they are? What they're doing? And are they driving? Are they running? Are they getting in trouble? Your mind goes on uncontrolled. Now, what if you can control it? That's what we're talking about. The ghost of fear of poverty, which seized the minds of millions of people in 1929, was so real that it caused the worst business depression this country has ever known. Moreover, this particular ghost still frightens some of us out of our wits. It's phenomenal. So that's why understanding becomes important. And so I have many times explained this fully in many different places. I think it's in some places on LinkedIn, it's in some places on YouTube, it's in probably in some of your folders as well, my clients, in the ones you have access to. But I really recommend you read it and see what applies to you. Now, he talks about six ghosts of fear. There's more fears than six, but these are the most common ones. And he also says you have to outwit the six ghosts of fear. We don't want to master them. We want to outwit them. Take inventory of yourself as you read this closing chapter and find out how many of the ghosts are standing in your way. I like how he said it. How many ghosts are standing in your way? So you're there and you can see the prize and you hear Bob talk about money. You hear Bob talk about multiple streams of income, and which ghost stands up? Imagine them as like roadblocks. You're driving and there's these barriers, there's these blocks in your way. Like, well, what are they? Is it failure is the ghost? Is it losing some money is the ghost? Or is it somebody's going to laugh at you? Which ghost is holding you back? And every one of us has different ones. Sometimes we have multiple on the same subject. Before you can put any portion of this philosophy into successful use, your mind must be prepared to receive it. The preparation is not difficult. It begins with study, analysis, and understanding of three enemies, which you will have to clear out. These are indecision, doubt, and fear. So, and that's why you probably heard that too as well, when I'm telling people, how do I coach? What do I do? What's the idea? We're going to study. That's what we're doing right now. We're going to discuss the topic, elite level mentorship, at a next level conversation. And of course, in the class, you guys participate a whole lot more. And then accountability, like I got to check on you. I got to make sure you're doing it. And that can go many different levels, especially for those who are in the private side. So, but let's look at these three things. Begins with study, analysis, and understanding of the three enemies, which you shall have to clear. You have to clear these three: indecision, doubt, and fear. The sixth sense will never function while these three negatives or any of them remain in your mind. The members of this unholy trio are closely related. Where one is found, the other two are close at hand. Wow, isn't that something? There is a picture I want to show you why that's important and why study is important. Okay, so but I gotta share the screen so you can see it, and I gotta find it first. So let me find it. Let me find it. Screenshot, maybe. No, not that screenshot. It's one of those days where I have too many windows open today. But I want you to see this because we touched base on it yesterday. And it's coming up in this chapter again here. So if not, I'll open it from the beginning. Where are you? Where are you? Let me just see. I'm not finding it. Oh, I know I downloaded it yesterday, so it is here. Here we go. See, I know I can find it. Where there's a will, there's a way. Of course, thanks for putting up with that. There you go. So that's why this trio, indecision, doubt, and fear, are important. And you see the stickman figure here, and we talked about this a bit yesterday. We're going to talk more about it tomorrow. We'll continue to talk about it. But if you look at what's going on this diagram, see here, worry, doubt, and fear. So as soon as you are not knowing, as soon as you are scared, as soon as you have an indecision situation, these build together and you start having fear, and it's all in the mind. Now, as you understand this, you're going to go from having fear to having faith. And that's why we study. We just need to go from here to here. Because here, there's knowledge and there's understanding. That's what study does. And that's what builds your faith. Now, you might reject the idea. You might not even accept what I'm sharing with you. But if you hear it enough times, eventually you say, yeah, that makes sense. Because it is the truth. And all these fears in our mind are all negatives. Like they're just trying to protect us. They're trying to keep us where we are. And a lot of times it's causing anxiety. It's causing depression. It's causing dis-ease. So let's, okay, making sure the time is good. Indecision is the seedling of fear. Remember this. The sixth sense will never function while these three negatives or any of them remain in your mind. The members of this unholy trio are closely related. Where one is found, the other two are close at hand. So we just talked about the sixth sense. So for your sixth sense to tell you where to go, and if you're having this worry, doubt, and fear, and these like poisonous ghosts, it's not going to work properly. So you have to clear it, and he even calls it unholy trio. Indecision is a seedling of fear. Remember this as you read. Indecision crystallizes into doubt, and the two blend and become fear. The blending process often is slow. This is one reason why these three enemies are so dangerous. They germinate and grow without their presence being observed. The remainder of this chapter describes an end which must be attained before this philosophy as a whole can be put into practical use. It also analyzes a condition which has but lately reduced huge numbers of people to poverty, and it states a truth which must be understood by all who accumulate riches, whether measured in terms of money or a state of mind. The purpose of this chapter is to turn the spotlight of attention upon the cause and the cure of the six basic fears. That's it. We're going to turn your attention to the cause and the cure. Before we can master an enemy, we must know its name, its habits, and its place of abode where it hides. As you read, analyze yourself carefully and determine which, if any, of the six common fears have attached themselves to you. Do not be deceived by the habits of these subtle enemies. Sometimes they remain hidden in the subconscious mind, which you can see, where they are difficult to locate and still more difficult to eliminate. So I'm gonna stop reading here. But basically, these enemies, if they are in your subconscious mind, they're basically a habit, because the subconscious mind is telling your body what to do, and your body goes into vibration mode and you take an action. So you're doing it automatic. Remember, it's 98% of your work is happening automatically. 98%. So that's why we study, so we become more aware. And we're gonna finish with this. So what are the six basic ones? Poverty, fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love of someone, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. And to leave you in a good space for today, and so you can come back tomorrow, I'm going to tell you the 4 steps of how to eliminate these things. And if you're listening, and if you know somebody that is afraid, if you know somebody that's been stuck poor for a long time, if you know somebody that is worried about being criticized, if you know somebody that's sick all the time, it's because of this. I've seen it. I have hundreds of videos of how many people have been healed just by fixing their mind. Because you take care of the mind, it's going to take care of the body. Most people are worrying about the body. And we need to be worried about the mind, because this mind has got 98% control. 98. If you take care of the mind, it's going to take care of the body. The body is just the servant. It's just just telling you what to do. A very good chapter. It would really serve you very well if you come back tomorrow and have read this chapter, because I'm going to explain it as much as I can. And then we're going to have Bob explain it as well. And it's going to be good. It's going to be really good. Just, I want to leave you with this question. I want to leave you with this one question. Write it down. How much is this costing you? I'll repeat the question. How much is this costing you? I don't know about you, but it's a big number for me. I don't know why the screen is not letting me share now. But I had something else on the screen. It's all good. How much is it costing you? Because these 6 ghosts of fear, they're doing things to you. They're making you do some things. They're making you not do other things. How much has it cost you? I bet a lot. I know it's costing me a lot. Really a lot. So with that, thanks again. We come to concluding today's session. You did amazing. Thank you so much for being here live. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for showing up for you. And give the gift of love. You know anybody that can benefit? Share, like, subscribe. And there's so many ways they can improve themselves. Like I'm proud of the team that they did this 30 days with Kamal, people getting stuff, videos, different things. Now we have this. Now we have the sales. It's just going to be so much better and better. And we keep adding. So with that, thanks again. Have an amazing day, and come back tomorrow for more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lots of